Samuel Blackwood stared at the official letter in his hands. The United Nations Space Command seal glinted under his office lights. He read it again, making sure he hadn't misunderstood. "They want me to be Earth's diplomat to the Galactic Council," he said to the empty room. At 48, Samuel looked like any other career diplomat. His dark hair showed touches of gray at the temples. His face had the kind of forgettable features that helped him blend into crowds. His hands, however, told a different story. They were rough and scarred, not the hands of someone who had spent their life pushing papers. A knock at his door interrupted his thoughts. Admiral Catherine Winters entered without waiting for permission. "I see you got the notice," she said, nodding at the paper in his hands. Samuel placed the letter on his desk. "This is a mistake. I'm not qualified for this position." Admiral Winters laughed. "Not qualified? You speak 12 languages, have negotiated 3 peace treaties, and understand alien cultures better than anyone else in the command." "You know what I mean," Samuel said quietly. "The council isn't just about talking. There are factions that don't want humans involved. This appointment could turn dangerous." "That's exactly why we chose you," Winters said, her voice dropping to a whisper. "Our intelligence suggests the Vrax Imperium is planning something. We need someone who can handle trouble if it comes." Samuel stood and walked to the window overlooking New Washington. The city sparkled in the evening light, citizens going about their lives with no idea of the dangers lurking among the stars. "I left that life behind, Catherine. 15 years ago. I'm just a diplomat now." Admiral Winters joined him at the window. "No one ever just stops being what they are, Sam. Before you became a diplomat, you were the best operative we ever had. 37 impossible missions. They called you the Reaper for a reason." Samuel's jaw tightened, and I spent 15 years trying to forget that name. "I wouldn't ask if Earth didn't need you," Winters said. "The Galactic Council controls everything from trade routes to defense pacts. Without their recognition, we're vulnerable. And some members want to keep us that way." Samuel turned back to his desk and picked up a small photo frame. The image showed a younger version of himself with a group of soldiers, all smiling despite the harsh alien landscape behind them. Only he and one other woman from that photo were still alive. "When do I leave?" he asked finally. "The EA's Vanguard departs in 3 days. Your staff is already being assembled. Your official background shows nothing but diplomatic service. No one except me knows about your previous work." Samuel nodded slowly. "Let's hope it stays that way." After Admiral Winters left, Samuel opened his desk drawer and removed a small metal box. Inside was a simple black device no bigger than his thumb. He pressed his finger to it, and a hidden compartment in his office wall slid open. Within were weapons and equipment no diplomat should possess. He looked at them for a long moment, memories of distant planets and desperate battles flooding back. Then he carefully selected a few items and placed them in his briefcase. "Just precautions," he told himself as he closed the hidden compartment. 3 days later, Samuel stood in the loading bay of the EA's Vanguard. All around him, crew members rushed to prepare for departure. His diplomatic staff waited nervously nearby, young men and women chosen for their intelligence and adaptability. None of them knew the real reason their unremarkable leader had been selected for this crucial mission. As the massive engines of the ship rumbled to life, Samuel caught Admiral Winters watching from a viewport. She gave him a small nod. Samuel straightened his perfectly tailored suit and turned to address his team. Time to play the role of the mild-mannered diplomat. He only hoped he wouldn't have to show them what lay beneath that carefully constructed facade. "Let's make history," he said with a reassuring smile. "Earth is counting on us." The EA's Vanguard dropped out of faster-than-light travel with a gentle shudder. Through the viewport, Samuel saw Centauri Prime for the first time. The space station was massive, a gleaming ring structure with spokes extending toward a central hub. Ships of various alien designs moved around it like bees around a hive. "First time seeing the Council Station?" asked Greg Palmer, Samuel's young assistant. Samuel nodded, though it wasn't true. He had been here once before, 15 years ago, on a mission that didn't officially exist. "It's beautiful," said Olivia Martinez, the security chief for the human delegation. Her hand rested casually near her sidearm, a habit Samuel recognized from his own past. "Remember," Samuel addressed his team of 12, "we are guests here. Many species of the Council have never met humans before. Some may be friendly, others hostile. All will be judging our species based on our behavior." The docking process took nearly an hour. Samuel used the time to review alien customs one last time with his staff. When the airlock finally opened, they were greeted by a delegation of station officials. "Welcome to Centauri Prime," said a tall, blue-skinned alien with 4 arms. "I am Coordinator John. The Council has assigned me to guide your delegation during your stay." Samuel stepped forward and bowed in the traditional manner of John's people. "We are honored by your welcome," he said in perfect Kurlani, the alien's native language. John's large eyes widened in surprise. "Your pronunciation is exceptional, Ambassador Blackwood." "I believe understanding begins with communication," Samuel replied with a diplomatic smile. As they moved through the station's grand corridors, Samuel's eyes scanned every detail. He noted security checkpoints, camera positions, and potential choke points. Old habits. The main promenade was filled with aliens of dozens of species. Many stopped to stare at the humans. Some looked curious, others wary. "The observation dome is ahead," Jean explained. "All new delegations are presented there." The dome was a vast chamber with a transparent ceiling, showing the stars above. Representatives from hundreds of worlds stood in tiered sections. Samuel recognized the aggressive-looking Vrax delegates immediately. Tall, reptilian beings with ridged foreheads and military postures. Nearby stood the Zithians, their chromed exoskeletons gleaming under the lights. "Earth's representatives," announced a booming voice as Samuel and his team entered. "They come seeking observer status within the Galactic Council." A murmur ran through the gathered aliens. Samuel felt the weight of countless eyes upon him. His instincts, honed through years of combat, sensed hostility from several delegations. A Vrax stepped forward, his scaled face twisted in what might have been a sneer. "Humans are too young a species for council membership. They still fight among themselves. Imagine the chaos they would bring here." Before Samuel could respond, another alien approached. This one had pale, almost translucent skin and large, kind eyes. An Ovalian, known for their empathic abilities. "I am Ambassador Thela," she said in a melodic voice. "The Novalian Conclave welcomes humans to galactic society. All species were once new to the stars." Samuel bowed his head respectfully. "Your welcome is appreciated, Ambassador Thela." The formal introductions continued for an hour. Throughout it all, Samuel maintained perfect diplomatic composure while his mind worked differently. He counted guards, memorized the faces of those who seemed most hostile, and identified all possible exits from the chamber. Later, as the human delegation was shown to their quarters, Martinez approached Samuel. "Sir, I noticed the Vrax delegates seemed particularly unfriendly," she said quietly. Samuel nodded. "The Vrax Imperium has a history of opposing new species joining the Council. They prefer conquest to diplomacy. Should we be concerned?" Samuel gave her a reassuring smile that didn't reach his eyes. "It's just politics, Chief Martinez." That night, alone in his quarters, Samuel removed a small device from his personal effects. He swept the room for listening devices and found 3. He left them in place, but activated a subtle jammer that would feed them ambient noise. Then he retrieved a small case from his luggage and opened it. Inside lay several items that no diplomat should possess. Samuel began methodically preparing for possibilities he hoped would never come to pass. "Just precautions," he whispered to himself again, as he concealed a blade beneath his bedframe. The next 3 days on Centauri Prime were filled with meetings. Samuel sat at many tables, spoke with many aliens, and smiled more than he had in years. On the surface, he was the perfect diplomat. patient, knowledgeable, and respectful of all customs. "You have studied our poetry," said the elder representative of the Colossi, a species of tall, thin aliens with 6 fingers on each hand. "Few outsiders take interest in our artistic traditions." Samuel bowed slightly. "The Song of 7 Moons is particularly moving. I believe understanding culture is the foundation of true diplomacy." The Colossi elder's skin changed color from blue to a pleased purple. Later, when the council voted on allowing Earth to participate in cultural exchange programs, the Colossi delegation supported the humans. Greg Palmer was impressed. "How do you know so much about all these species, sir? There are over 300 represented here." Samuel smiled. "Research, Mr. Palmer. Always do your homework." What Samuel didn't say was that much of his knowledge came from military intelligence briefings and infiltration missions to these worlds years ago. That evening, Samuel was invited to a reception hosted by the Zithian Collective. Their leader, Archonvex, was an imposing figure encased in a metallic exoskeleton that amplified his natural abilities. "Ambassador Blackwood," Vex said, his voice having a strange mechanical quality. "Your species is quite interesting. So primitive in some ways, yet surprisingly advanced in others." "We're young but eager to learn," Samuel replied, keeping his tone friendly despite the implied insult. "Perhaps too eager," said a harsh voice behind him. Samuel turned to see Grothar, the Vrax military commander. "Humans expanded through their solar system in just 1 century. Now they want to join our trade routes. Next, they'll want our technology." Samuel maintained his diplomatic smile. "Earth seeks peaceful cooperation, Commander Grothar. We have much to offer in exchange for knowledge." "Like what?" the Vrax commander growled. "Creative thinking," Samuel answered smoothly. "Humans solve problems differently than most species. Our art, music, and literature are unique, and we adapt quickly. That's what concerns us," Grothar said before walking away. Later that night, Olivia Martinez met Samuel in a secure corner of the human quarters. "Sir, our security sweep found something," she whispered, showing him a small device. It was hidden in the ventilation system of our communications room. Samuel examined it without touching it. A listening device, but not station security issue. "This is Vrax military grade. Should we report it?" Samuel shook his head. "Not yet. Place it back exactly where you found it. But first." He took a tool from his pocket and made a tiny adjustment to the device. Now it will transmit normal conversation patterns, but no actual content. Martinez looked surprised. "That's not standard diplomatic training." "Sir." Samuel just smiled. "I took some extra courses." After she left, Samuel sat alone in his quarters, reviewing the station schematics on his datapad. He had spent the past days secretly placing small emergency supplies in key locations throughout the human section. Medical kits, communication devices, and items that could serve as weapons if needed. A soft chime indicated an incoming message. It was from Thela, the Novalian ambassador. "Ambassador Blackwood, I believe we should speak privately. There are matters of concern regarding tomorrow's vote. Meet me in the Arboretum at 3rd bell." Samuel sent a confirmation, then checked his hidden blade. His instincts told him the situation was deteriorating. The next morning, before meeting Thela, Samuel gathered his staff. "Today the council votes on our observer status," he told them. "Regardless of the outcome, maintain professional composure. We represent all of humanity here." Greg Palmer spoke up. "The betting pools among the junior staffs say we have enough votes to pass." Samuel nodded. "Perhaps, but in galactic politics, promised votes can vanish quickly." As his team dispersed to their duties, Samuel noticed unusual movement among the station security forces. More guards than normal. Positioned at strategic locations, he casually tapped a code into his wrist device, sending a prearranged signal to Admiral Winters back on Earth. Something was coming. Samuel could feel it in his bones. the same way he used to sense ambushes during his operative days. The Reaper was stirring beneath the Diplomat's calm facade. The Arboretum was quiet at third bell. Plants from 100 worlds created a peaceful setting of strange colors and sweet smells. Samuel found Thilla waiting beside a fountain of glowing blue water. "Thank you for coming, Ambassador," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "Your message sounded urgent," Samuel replied, keeping his voice equally low. Thilla's large eyes darted around, checking for listeners. "My people are empaths. We sense emotions, intentions. The Vracs and Zithians are blocking something from us, but occasionally I catch feelings of anticipation, dangerous anticipation." Samuel nodded slowly. "Do you have any specific information?" "The vote today. They seem too confident it will fail. And there are unusual movements of Vrac security personnel. They brought a battle cruiser into dock yesterday, claiming it needs repairs." Samuel felt his muscles tense. A battle cruiser would carry hundreds of Vrac soldiers. "Thank you for this warning," he said. "Why help us?" Thila's expression softened. "Not all species fear newcomers. Some of us remember what it was like to be the newest voice in the council." A noise behind them made Samuel turn quickly. It was just a maintenance bot, but Samuel noticed how his body had automatically shifted into a fighting stance. He relaxed before Thilla could notice. "I should return to my delegation," Samuel said. "The vote begins soon." As he walked back to the human quarters, Samuel sent coded messages to Martinez and the Vanguard's captain, suggesting heightened alert status. Something was coming, and soon. The Grand Council chamber was a huge room with a high ceiling and seating for all member species. In the center was a round platform where speakers addressed the gathering. Today, it would be where Earth's fate in galactic society would be decided. As the human delegation took their seats, Samuel noticed the Vracs and Zithian sections were unusually full. Grother sat with a group of officers, their ceremonial armor gleaming under the lights. The council elder, an ancient being from one of the founding species, called the session to order. "Today we vote on Earth's petition for observer status. Ambassador Blackwood will speak first." Samuel walked to the central platform. He had prepared a strong speech about human achievements and hopes for the future. But as he reached the center, all the lights went out. Emergency lighting came on seconds later, bathing the chamber in a red glow. A voice boomed over the station's communication system. "Security alert. All delegates remain in place." Samuel felt rather than saw the movement behind him. Vrac soldiers entering the chamber from multiple doors. His team looked to him with alarm as armed guards surrounded the human section. Grother stepped onto the speaking platform. "Council members, we have discovered disturbing evidence. The humans have smuggled banned weapons onto this station." Gasps and murmurs spread through the alien crowd. "This is a lie," Samuel said calmly. "Earth respects council laws." Grother held up a small device that projected a hologram showing what appeared to be human-made weapons hidden in a storage area. "These were found near the human quarters," the Vrax commander announced. "Further, we have intercepted communications suggesting an Earth military strike against Council worlds." Samuel recognized the fabricated evidence immediately. "These claims are false. I demand an independent investigation." "The evidence is clear," Archon Vex of the Zithians declared, rising from his seat. "I move that Earth's petition be rejected and the human delegation detained for questioning." The chamber erupted in shouting and confusion. Samuel noticed station security forces were being replaced by Vrax soldiers. The exits were blocked. The station's communication systems went silent. They were being jammed. Looking back at his frightened staff, Samuel made a decision. "Everyone, stay behind me," he ordered quietly. Greg Palmer looked confused. "Sir, there are at least 20 armed guards surrounding us." Samuel removed his formal diplomatic jacket and loosened his collar. "I know. It hardly seems fair to them." As the first Vrax soldiers approached with weapons drawn, Samuel Blackwood stood very still. A strange calm came over him. The Diplomat was gone, and something else entirely took his place. "This is your final warning," the lead Vrax soldier growled. "Surrender now." Samuel smiled, but the expression never reached his eyes. "No, this is your final warning." What happened next stunned everyone in the chamber. The lead Vrax soldier fired his weapon at Samuel. In a motion too fast for most eyes to follow, Samuel sidestepped the blast and closed the distance between them. 3 seconds later, the Vrax soldier lay unconscious, and Samuel held his weapon. More soldiers rushed forward. Samuel moved like water, flowing between them. His hand struck with precision at weak points in alien armor. Each movement was efficient, wasting no energy. 4 more Vrax fell before anyone could react. "Get to the safe room," Samuel shouted to his staff while dodging another attack. During his first days on the station, he had prepared a secure location in their quarters. Greg Palmer's mouth hung open in shock. "Sir, what now?" Samuel ordered as he disarmed another soldier and used the alien's own weapon against his comrades. The remaining human staff ran for the exit as Samuel provided cover. Olivia Martinez stayed behind, drawing her sidearm. "I'm security chief. I stay with you," she insisted. Samuel nodded once. "Watch our backs." Together, they fought their way through the Vrax soldiers. Samuel moved with impossible speed and skill. His diplomat's hands were now weapons, finding pressure points and vulnerable spots on alien bodies that most humans wouldn't know existed. Grothar watched in growing horror. "Kill him," he screamed. A group of Zithian guards joined the fight, their advanced weapons powering up. Samuel grabbed a fallen Vrax's ceremonial knife and threw it with perfect accuracy. It struck a power junction on the wall, causing a section of lights to explode in sparks. In the confusion, Samuel pulled Martinez into a side corridor. "We need to get to our quarters," he said calmly, despite the chaos. "I have equipment there." Martinez stared at him. "Who are you really?" "Right now, I'm the only chance our team has of surviving," Samuel replied. "The rest can wait." They moved through service passages Samuel had memorized from station schematics. Twice they encountered patrols, and twice Samuel disabled the guards with quick, silent strikes. When they reached the human quarters, they found the rest of the staff hiding inside. "Bar the door," Samuel ordered as he moved to a panel in the wall. He pressed his hand against it in a specific pattern, and the panel slid open to reveal a hidden compartment. Greg Palmer watched in amazement as Samuel pulled out items no diplomat should have: specialized weapons, communication devices, and body armor. "You're not just a diplomat," Palmer said. Samuel quickly stripped off his formal clothes and began putting on the lightweight tactical gear. Not today. On a small screen, they could see Vrax and Zithian forces taking control of the station. Council members were being rounded up or confined to their quarters. The station's regular security forces were either cooperating or being neutralized. "What's happening?" one of the junior staff members asked, voice shaking. "A coup," Samuel answered. "They're using the false accusation against us as cover to take control of the council." He touched a hidden communicator in his ear. "Vanguard, this is Blackwood. Initiate Protocol 7. "Protocol 7 confirmed," came the response from Earth's ship. "Be advised, we are being targeted by Vrax vessels. Defensive measures engage." Samuel turned to his team. "Here's the situation. The Vrax and Zithians are attempting to take over the council. They'll try to prevent word from reaching Earth. If they succeed, this could lead to a surprise attack on human worlds." He opened another hidden compartment and began distributing emergency equipment to his staff. "Martinez, you were military before diplomatic security, correct?" She nodded. 4 years Marine Corps. "Good. You'll guard our people in the safe room." He pointed to a hidden door that led to a reinforced chamber. "I prepared it with supplies for an emergency." "What will you do?" Palmer asked. Samuel checked a compact energy weapon. "I'm going to reach the station's main communication center and send an uncorrupted message to Earth. Then I'll find proof of this conspiracy." Before anyone could ask more questions, an explosion rocked the outer door. Vrak soldiers had found them. Samuel's face changed. The pleasant diplomatic mask vanished completely. His eyes became cold and focused. Everyone in the room felt a chill as they realized the man they thought they knew was gone. In his place stood someone else entirely. Someone dangerous. "Get to this safe room," he said quietly. "I'll handle this." The safe room door closed behind the human staff just as the main door exploded inward. Samuel stood alone in the smoke-filled room, weapon ready. 6 Vrak soldiers stormed in, weapons raised. Their leader spotted Samuel and snarled, "Surrender, human." Samuel's response was a quick series of shots that disabled 2 soldiers instantly. Before the others could react, he rolled behind a fallen table. The remaining Vraks fired, turning the furniture to splinters. Samuel threw a small device across the room. It burst with a blinding flash. While the Vraks were temporarily blinded, he moved with practiced precision, disabling each soldier with targeted strikes to vulnerable points on their bodies. In less than 30 seconds, all 6 attackers were down. Samuel quickly collected their weapons and communication devices. From one officer, he took an access card that would open restricted areas of the station. "Too easy," he muttered. After 15 years of diplomatic work, his combat skills should have been rusty. They weren't. Some things, it seemed, the body never forgot. Samuel moved to the ventilation shaft he had identified days ago as an emergency exit. As he crawled through the narrow space, station-wide alerts blared through the speakers. "Attention all personnel. Human terrorists have attacked council representatives. All humans are to be detained immediately. Any resistance will be met with lethal force." Samuel grimaced. The Vraks were controlling the narrative. He needed to reach the communications center to get the truth out. The ventilation system opened into a maintenance corridor. Samuel checked a small device showing the station layout. The communications center was 2 levels up, but the main routes would be heavily guarded. He touched his hidden communicator. "Martinez, status report." "Everyone's secure in the safe room, sir," came her reply. "What's happening out there?" "The Vraks are blaming us for an attack on the council. I'm heading to communications now." "Be careful. Station security feeds show heavy Vraks presence between you and that location." Samuel smiled grimly. "Noted." He moved through service passageways, avoiding main corridors. Twice he had to hide as maintenance workers passed by. Once he encountered 2 Vrak soldiers and was forced to silence them quickly before they could sound an alarm. As he approached the junction, Samuel heard voices ahead. Not Vraks, but the softer tones of Novelians. He carefully peered around the corner. Ambassador Thela and 3 other Novelians were surrounded by Zithian guards. One Zithian was speaking. "The council elder is secure in his quarters. You will join him and remain there until this crisis is resolved." "This is not a crisis but a coup," Thela replied firmly. "The humans are not terrorists. They were set up." The Zithian raised his weapon. "Move now or be classified as human sympathizers." Samuel had to make a quick decision. Letting Thela be imprisoned would remove a potential ally, but revealing himself might compromise his mission to reach the communications center. He made his choice. With precise aim, Samuel fired stun blasts at the 4 Zithian guards. They dropped before they could respond. The Novelians turned in surprise as Samuel stepped into view. "Ambassador Blackwood," Thela gasped. "You're alive." "For now," Samuel replied, quickly checking that the Zithians were unconscious. "The Vraks and Zithians are attempting to take control of the council. They framed my delegation as terrorists." Thela nodded. "We sensed deception, but couldn't prove it. Many council members are already detained. The Vraks battle cruiser has launched fighters. They're targeting your ship." Samuel's jaw tightened. "I need to reach the communications center to warn Earth." "It's heavily guarded," one of the other Novelians said. "At least 20 soldiers. Then I'll need a distraction, Samuel replied. He looked at the Novalians thoughtfully. Can your people access the station's environmental systems? Thila's eyes widened. Yes, through the auxiliary control room. My aide Moran has clearance. Good. I need you to create an emergency in another section. Perhaps a false fire alarm or atmospheric warning. Something to draw guards away from communications. Thila and her people agreed to help. Before they separated, she touched Samuel's arm. You're not what you seem, Ambassador, she said, her empathic abilities clearly sensing the change in him. Samuel met her gaze steadily. No, but right now, that's a good thing for both our peoples. As the Novalians headed toward environmental control, Samuel continued his journey through the station's hidden pathways. The Diplomat was gone completely now. In his place moved something else, silent, deadly, and with a singular purpose. The Reaper had work to do. 10 minutes later, alarms blared throughout the station. A calm voice announced, "Emergency in Section 12. Possible atmospheric contamination. All personnel evacuate immediately." Samuel smiled. The Novalians had come through. Through a small vent, he watched as half the guards at the communication center hurried away to help with the emergency. Still, 10 Vrax and Zithian soldiers remained at their posts. Too many for a direct assault, even for him. Samuel needed a different approach. From his tactical gear, he removed a small device and attached it to the ventilation system. It would release a harmless gas that would make the guards drowsy. Not enough to knock them out completely, but enough to slow their reactions. As the gas silently spread, Samuel prepared for his move. He checked his weapons one last time and touched his communicator. "Martinez, is the team still secure?" "Yes, sir," she replied. "But station security is doing systematic searches. They might find us soon. Hold position. Once I send the message to Earth, I'll come back for you." Samuel took a deep breath, then moved. He dropped from the ventilation shaft directly into the communication center. The guards, already affected by the gas, reacted slowly. 2 fell to stun blasts before they could raise their weapons. 3 more went down after brief hand-to-hand combat. The remaining guards put up more resistance. A Zithian officer managed to activate an alarm before Samuel knocked him unconscious. Another Vrax slashed at Samuel with a ceremonial blade, cutting his arm before Samuel disabled him with a precise strike to the throat. With all guards neutralized, Samuel quickly moved to the communication console. He entered override codes he had memorized for this exact scenario and began broadcasting an emergency message to Earth. "This is Ambassador Blackwood. Vrax and Zithian forces have staged a coup at Centauri Prime. They plan to attack Earth using the diplomatic incident as cover. The Vanguard is under attack. Send reinforcements immediately. Attached is evidence of conspiracy." Samuel included data files he had collected from the Vrax commander's personal device during the fight. Just as he sent the message, the main door exploded inward. Grother stood there with 20 elite soldiers, his reptilian face twisted with fury. "You've ruined everything," the Vrax commander snarled. "The message won't matter. Our fleet is already moving against your homeworld." Samuel stepped away from the console, hands raised as if surrendering. "You underestimated humans, Commander. It's a common mistake." Grother laughed. "One human against the might of 2 galactic powers. Your species is doomed." "Not one human," Samuel replied calmly. "Our fleet was already on alert, and now they know your plans." Rage filled Grothar's eyes. "Kill him," he ordered his soldiers. What happened next would be recorded by the station's security system and later viewed by billions across the galaxy. Samuel Blackwood, Earth's diplomat, moved with inhuman speed and precision. The first 5 soldiers fell before they could fire a single shot. The next 7 went down in a blur of movement as Samuel used their own weapons against them. Blood streamed from cuts on Samuel's face and arms, but he showed no sign of slowing down. One by one, the elite soldiers dropped until only Grother remained. The Vrax commander drew his ceremonial blades, curved weapons meant for ritual combat among his people. "I will kill you myself," he growled. Samuel stood calmly, blood dripping from his wounds. "You had your chance for peace. You chose war instead." They circled each other in the center of the room. Grothar attacked first, his blades slashing through the air with deadly speed. Samuel dodged most strikes, but one blade cut across his chest, tearing through his tactical gear. Samuel didn't flinch. He moved inside Grothar's guard and struck with precise hits to nerve clusters unique to Vrax's physiology. Knowledge from old military briefings returned automatically. Grothar stumbled, surprised by the human's knowledge of Vrax's weak points. "What are you?" he gasped. Samuel didn't answer. He continued his attack, methodical and relentless. When Grothar lunged forward in desperation, Samuel sidestepped and struck the back of the Vrax's neck at exactly the right spot. Grothar collapsed, paralyzed but conscious. Samuel stood over him, breathing heavily. "I am what you made me," Samuel said quietly. "You wanted a war with humanity. Instead, you got me." From the doorway came a new voice, and he was our most diplomatic representative. Samuel turned to see Ambassador Thila standing with several council members who had been freed by the Novelians. They had witnessed the entire fight. This human fought to protect the council, not attack it, Thila announced. "The conspiracy is exposed." 3 days later, the Grand Council chamber was filled again. This time, security was provided by a neutral species, the Colossi, whose loyalty to council law was unquestioned. Samuel Blackwood stood before the gathered representatives, his wounds bandaged, but his posture straight and dignified. He had returned to his diplomatic suit, though everyone now knew what lay beneath the polished exterior. The council elder spoke first. "We have reviewed all evidence. The attempted coup by Vrax and Scythian factions has been confirmed. Their plan to use Earth as a scapegoat while launching a surprise attack has failed, thanks to Ambassador Blackwood's actions." Murmurs spread through the chamber. Many species were still processing what they had witnessed. The security footage of Samuel fighting through elite soldiers had been viewed across the station. The elder continued, "Ambassador Blackwood, your delegation came seeking observer status. After recent events, the Council will now vote on full membership for Earth." Samuel bowed respectfully. Earth appreciates the Council's consideration, regardless of the outcome. The vote was conducted electronically. Samuel watched the tally rise on the main display. One by one, species that had been reluctant now voted in favor of Earth's membership. By majority decision, Earth is granted full member status within the Galactic Council, the elder announced. Applause filled the chamber. Ambassador Thila approached Samuel with a warm smile. "Your people have earned their place here," she said, "though I suspect many voted out of pragmatic fear rather than friendship." Samuel nodded. "Fear is sometimes the beginning of respect. Friendship can come later." Later, in a private meeting room, Samuel faced a communication screen. Admiral Winters looked back at him from Earth. "Well done, Reaper," she said. The Vrax battle fleet retreated once they realized their plan was exposed. Their government is now claiming the whole thing was the action of rogue officers. "Convenient," Samuel replied. "What about the Scythians?" "Their leadership has publicly disavowed Archon-Vex. He's being held for trial." Samuel's expression hardened. But they were clearly working together. Winters nodded. "We'll be watching them both carefully. Earth now has full council membership, which gives us access to trade routes and defense agreements. It's more than we hoped for." Samuel touched his bandaged arm. "At a cost." "Your cover is blown," Winters acknowledged. "Everyone knows you're more than a diplomat now." "Yes, but perhaps that's not a bad thing." Samuel looked out the viewport at the stars. "The galaxy now knows humans aren't just clever talkers. We can defend ourselves when needed." "Will you continue as ambassador?" Winters asked. Samuel considered this. His staff now knew his true background. The council species had seen what he was capable of. There would be no returning to the simple diplomat role. For now, he finally answered, Earth needs a steady presence here while relations stabilize. After ending the call, Samuel returned to the human quarters where his team waited. They looked at him differently now, with respect tinged with caution. Greg Palmer spoke first. The ship reports all systems ready for our return journey to Earth, sir. Will we be leaving soon? Samuel shook his head. Our mission has changed. We're staying as Earth's first official council members. After what happened, are you sure that's safe? Martins asked. Samuel smiled slightly. I think we've shown the galaxy that humans shouldn't be underestimated. As his team dispersed to their duties, Samuel stood alone by the viewport. The massive Vrax battle cruiser was being escorted away from the station by Council security ships. The coup had failed, but Samuel knew this was just the beginning. Somewhere on the station, a quiet conversation was taking place. A Khaleesi observer was speaking to his superior. The humans are dangerous, he said. One of their diplomats defeated 20 elite Vrax warriors. Then we should be grateful they seek peace, his superior replied. Imagine what their soldiers must be like, if this is their diplomat. Word spread quickly through the galaxy. Humans had arrived on the galactic stage, and their first impression was unforgettable. Earth's ambassador had revealed an important truth. Humans came in peace, but they were ready for war. As Samuel prepared for a new council session, he straightened his perfectly tailored suit and checked his appearance one last time. The diplomat was back, but everyone now knew what stood behind the polite smile and measured words. Death in a suit, ready to defend humanity no matter the cost.